What's up? This is Will, and you are watching Living It Up. We are going to be continuing with Elliot Johnson's project. It is called the Star Wars Remnants, and we actually have the writer today, Andy Lucas. And now, with his background, he actually has some Star Trek stuff that he's done. One was called Star Trek Rumble and Wars, and the other one is just called Rumble and Wars. I just found this out, so we're going to go ahead and we'll start a little bit about that, just to get to know him a little bit. Go ahead, Mr. Lucas, just tell us about yourself and those projects.
Cool. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited about Star Wars Remnants. The two fan films that you referred to previously, one of them is called The Romulan Wars, and it's currently crowdfunding for part 2. It's had some really nice critical acclaim. And my part of that, I wrote some audio dramas that they're using as a YouTube filler and to keep the momentum going for the crowdfunding. So there's a couple of audio dramas there that I wrote for that, and that was a lot of fun. Now the other series is Star Trek: The Romulan Wars, and I did that with Lee Guttrell, and Elliot Johnson was one of the executive producers, and that's kind of where we met. And one of the actors, Ashley Kalfas, is in Star Wars Remnants. So once I started writing for this, certainly I pegged her for this and put her forward to Elliot, and I'm really glad she's on board. Star Trek: The Romulan Wars, I don't think they've been producing anything for the last 3 years, but I think we got up to about 8 episodes, and I wrote 3 of them and did a lot of script editing for it. So that was a lot of fun. Very low budget, but very high enthusiasm. And it helped me stretch some of my writing skills to move into script writing and such. I've done a couple of other fan film scripts, but those never got off the ground. So I'm really excited to see what Star Wars Remnants, how it works out. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely the crowdfunding part is the part that always needs the most work to get your names out there. And I definitely hope that both projects, succeed. And now with the Star Trek, or Star Wars rather, Remnants, actually with the Star Trek and Star Wars, both of them have big fan bases. Do you see like a big difference between either the fan bases, or are they mostly like everybody's gets along?
Well, I think for the most part, like every fan base has its radical elements, people that take it a little too far, people that are a little too invested, but the majority, they're just there for a good time. They enjoy the canon, they enjoy the movies. They might not like all the movies, they might not like all the canon, but really they enjoy the ride. And personally, I've been a Star Trek fan since I first encountered it back in the 70s. And the same with Star Wars. I saw the opening movies. I've been to every movie in the theater, and I don't see myself stopping that. And I'm really enjoying what they're doing with the smaller features like The Mandalorian, Star Wars Rebels. I've got a real love of that series, and I wanted to incorporate some of that into what we were doing here. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Do you have a favorite character in the Star Wars?
I've always been partial to Ahsoka. But if we're talking non-canon, or I'm not sure if it is canon or isn't, but the Star Wars comics introduced a character called Dr. Aphra, and I really, really enjoy that character. And I kind of, when I was writing this script, I wanted to have aspects of Dr. Aphra in that. So our main character could very well be rewritten as Dr. Aphra, because she's a rogue, she's a scoundrel, she's in it for herself. She makes friends, enemies, lovers that become enemies, friends that become lovers, that kind of stuff. But ultimately, she's in it for the heist. She's in it for the glory. She's in it for the fun. And she generally doesn't care who gets hurt or how many friendships are broken. And that's the character of Jen Valora. She's got a bit of a history that I enjoyed writing into the movie, but without exposing it. So that there's a lot of subtext that the actors really are bringing forward. but we don't spell things out. We let you consider what may have happened in the past, what happened between the characters, and what's going to happen between the characters. I've always been a big fan of that kind of subtext.
Oh, that's awesome. Is that where you get a lot of your inspiration from then, like when it comes to writing in general?
Well, I've been writing since about 80, 82, 84. Around there is when I first had my first piece published, won a contest at Okanagan College where I was going. And from there, I never really looked back. It sure as heck doesn't pay the bills, but it sure feeds my creative urge. So at that point, I was playing a lot of role-playing games, and I sort of transitioned into writing role-playing material. So I've been doing that for about 40 years, apparently. And that's where I get a lot of my ideas. A really solid role-playing game and the role-playing teams. You know, when you're in the sessions, your creativity just naturally flows. So I had a writer mentor that was a part of our gaming group. And he would often write his novels by throwing a scenario to us, his players, and we would run through the game, and he would take that and put it into his novels and stuff like that. It's really interesting. So the role-playing game community is just this hotbed of creativity. They don't realize it, but a lot of the writers do.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to feed off people and you know, to collaborate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Were there any when you do get like a writer's block, how do you overcome that? Because I know like a lot of up and coming writers, you know, run into that kind of stuff.
Well, writer's block is it's tough because you get it. Well, for myself, when I'm blocked, it's not because I don't know what I want to do or what I need to do. Because if I have a writing project, I generally know where I want to end and I know where to start. And then it's just a matter of filling in the middle. What happens is reality starts to intrude. So I have a lot of shifts of work, or perhaps I'm having issues, you know, with family issues or things like that. And that starts to suck all your creativity out because all you're dwelling on is what's happening in your life, not what you're supposed to be writing. And for me, I found taking a break, having a walk, talking to people that know what you're working on but don't actually know what you're working on. When they start asking questions, then you start filling in those blanks and it spurs your creativity. I can't stress enough how valuable as a writer it is to have a good beta reader. So someone that will look at your work and will tell you where it's crap and where your weaknesses are. I've got 4 people that I throw all my ideas off, and they really come back with some valuable advice, occasionally editing, but generally they know what my style is and they know when I'm not writing to it. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm glad you got a good support system there.
Yeah, yeah. It takes years to develop it, but you know, if you have that one friend that's willing to talk to you honestly and tell you whether you're on the right track or not, then it really improves you as a writer.
Oh, wow. That was going to lead into my other question about, like, you know, what kind of advice you have for people who are writers and aspiring to write the next either script or show or whatnot. That's all like a lot of examples right there. Is there other advice that you can give?
Keep at it. Keep going. If you have an idea and a concept or a project that you're working on, see it through to the finish. Even though as you're writing it, you know it's not good, you know it's not working, you know you're not going exactly where you want to go, keep at it and then go back and look at it. So if you get the momentum going, just keep going with it, even though what you're writing you know is horrible. It's not grammatical, it's not portraying the characters you feel they should be portrayed as, or maybe you're missing plot points. Just churn through it until you're done and then go back. There's going to be a lot of things that you take out of it and a lot of things that you're just going to throw away. But just getting that first draft or that first concept down is the most important part. Half of writing is just momentum.
I like that. That's definitely good advice. Because I know me, myself, when I do some writing, projects always seem like you can always add more. You know, it's like it never seems like it's ever done. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
a couple days later, it's like, oh, I could have done this and stuff like that. So I definitely appreciate that. Now with this particular film here, because I know we're getting ready to wrap up here soon in time. But with this script, what do you feel that people should be taking away from the movie?
Well, I think the movie, the way it was written, the way the actors are absorbing it, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of comedy. It's very much taking what I thought the best part of Star Wars was, and still is, and just encapsulating that in something that's just a lot of fun. There's a couple of nuggets in there which allude to canon, allude to the way things are going to change in the future with the movies and The Mandalorian as it is, and some things from the past. But basically, it's a bunch of rogues making their way in the Star Wars universe, and they're in it for a buck. They don't care who they're going to hurt, but ultimately, they've got a heart of gold, and they know what they're doing. It's important, and people are going to be all the better for it. But it's just going to be so much fun to see.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, definitely appreciate you again, Andy, for being on our show, and I hope you come back again, and we can talk a little bit longer. I do apologize. We're a little bit on the time crunch today, but definitely stay tuned. And once again, that was Star Wars Remnants. You can check out the links here and keep an eye on their page. All right. Well, I appreciate it, Andy.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.